Every season, there's that one player who explodes with incredible form and then disappears. But what about managers, the one-season wonders, the ones who shine bright for a moment, then vanish? One of them was Avram Grant, who joined Chelsea in 2007 for a role in the club's management. A friend of Roman Abramovich, Grant had only worked in Israel before. When Jose Mourinho was fired early that season after a run of poor results, Grant was appointed caretaker manager. For fans, it was a shock. The loud, confident Mourinho was replaced by a quiet and serious Israeli. No one expected much. It looked like the season was already lost, but Grant surprised everyone. He didn't change Mourinho's system. Instead, he made the team play more carefully and focus on results. Chelsea stayed strong in the Premier League, finishing just 2 points behind Manchester United. The real highlight came in the Champions League. Under Grant, Chelsea reached the final in Moscow against United, something even Mourinho hadn't achieved. The match was full of drama and went to penalties. John Terry could have won it for Chelsea, but he slipped, and United took the trophy. Grant could have been the club's big hero, but instead, he was replaced. Even after reaching the final and finishing second in the league, Abramovich saw him as a temporary manager and wanted a bigger name. Players later admitted that between Mourinho and Villas-Boas, it was the squad, stars like Terry, Drogba, Essien, Ballack, Cech, and Carvalho, who really held the team together. They needed a coach they fully trusted. After Chelsea, Grant's career declined. He took Portsmouth to the 2010 FA Cup final, but the team was relegated and faced financial collapse. At West Ham, the same story happened: relegation and another firing. Later, he worked with Ghana's national team and took smaller roles in Asia and Africa. He never returned to top-level football and remained remembered as Chelsea's one-season manager. A few years later, another coach would rise just as suddenly. In 2010, at just 32 years old, Andre Villas-Boas became Porto's head coach. Before that, he had only worked one season in the academy and as Mourinho's assistant. Back then, trusting someone so young with a top club was unusual, so no one expected him to build one of the best Porto teams in years. Before Andre arrived, Porto dominated in Portugal, but struggled in Europe after Mourinho. Villas-Boas changed that. In his first season, he achieved a dream, winning the league, the Portuguese Cup, and the Europa League. His team played fast, pressing football. Falcao scored non-stop, Hulk destroyed defenses, and Moutinho controlled the midfield. The young coach helped his players grow, and within a year, they were worth millions. Everyone started calling him the new Mourinho. In 2011, Chelsea paid a record €15 million to bring him in. Fans expected a revolution, but things didn't work out. At Chelsea, his ideas clashed with the veterans, Lampard, Terry, and Drogba. Results got worse, and by March 2012, he was fired. He then joined Tottenham and did better at first, but after Gareth Bale left, the team fell apart. That was the end of his time among Europe's top coaches. He later managed Zenit, winning the league but struggling in Europe, then worked in China and Marseille, both short spells. Villas-Boas has always been a bit different. At one point, he became more interested in racing than football. In 2018, he even joined the Dakar Rally, but had to quit after 4 days. Today, he's the president of Porto, a twist that sounds more like football manager than real life. He's still remembered for that magical 2010-11 season when he looked like the next Mourinho, even if he couldn't stay at the top for long. But the man who replaced Andre performed a miracle for Chelsea and fell into oblivion even faster. Meet Chelsea's ultimate one-season wonder, Roberto Di Matteo. In March 2012, Roberto Di Matteo was Andre Villas-Boas' assistant at Chelsea. The team was struggling, the players had lost faith in the Portuguese coach, and Roman Abramovich decided to fire him. Di Matteo took over as caretaker manager. As a former Chelsea player who knew the team well and had a calm personality, he was the perfect man to ease the tension. He didn't try to reinvent the team. Instead, he brought the senior players back into key roles, trusted their experience, and focused on solid defense, counterattacks, and set pieces. It worked. That spring, Chelsea pulled off a miracle in the Champions League. They knocked out Guardiola's Barcelona, even playing with 10 men at Camp Nou, and then beat Bayern Munich in the final. Petr Cech saved a penalty, Drogba equalized late in the match, and then scored the winning penalty in the shootout. For the first time ever, Chelsea became champions of Europe under a manager nobody had taken seriously. Abramovich rewarded Di Matteo with a full-time contract, but the fairy tale didn't last. The next season, the team played poorly, crashed out of the Champions League group stage, and Di Matteo was sacked by autumn. After that, he managed Schalke and Aston Villa, but never repeated the magic of 2012. In the end, Roberto Di Matteo remained the hero of one unforgettable night in Munich. Fast forward to 2017, the year a young Monaco side shocked Europe. With Bernardo Silva, Kylian Mbappé, Fabinho, and Radamel Falcao leading the charge, they reached the Champions League semi-finals under a little-known Portuguese coach, Leonardo Jardim. He joined Monaco in 2014 after a short but successful spell at Sporting. The season before, Monaco finished second under Claudio Ranieri, with James Rodriguez as their star. After he left, the club gave Jardim a new challenge: build a fresh team and still compete with PSG. Monaco's plan was to focus on young talent instead of big big stars, players they could develop and later sell. Jardim made it work. His team played fast, attacking football with quick counterattacks. Mbappé became a star, Bernardo Silva shined in midfield, and Thomas Lemar broke through. Monaco played brave, exciting football, even against Europe's biggest clubs. Their best season came in 2016-17. Monaco beat Guardiola's Manchester City, reached the Champions League semi-finals, and won the French League, ending PSG's 5-year streak. Jardim had built a team that was both fun to watch and successful, but it didn't last. The club started selling their best players. Mbappé went to PSG, Bernardo Silva to Manchester City, Bakayoko to Chelsea. With every sale, the team got weaker, and the replacements weren't as good. By 2018, results fell apart, and Jardim was fired. After that, his career declined. He returned to Monaco once more, but it wasn't the same. Later, he coached in the UAE and Saudi Arabia, winning some trophies, but in Europe, people had already forgotten him. Paulo Sousa became Fiorentina's coach in the summer of 2015, replacing Vincenzo Montella. At the time, the club sometimes played in European competitions, but wasn't fighting for titles, and fans didn't expect much. Sousa had impressed earlier by taking Basel to the Champions League knockout stage. In Florence, he quickly improved the defense and gave the team a faster, more confident style. His Fiorentina played bold, technical football, and by fall 2015, they were surprisingly leading Serie A. That short spell at the top was the peak of his time there. Key players included Borja Valero, Marcos Alonso, and the attacking duo Ilicic and Kalinic. Fiorentina beat big teams like Milan and Inter, giving fans hope of a return to the top. Early in 2016, they were second in the league, just 1 point behind the leaders. But things soon changed. Other teams figured out Sousa's tactics, and when he asked for new players, the club said no. Fiorentina finished 5th, a solid result, but expectations had grown. In his second season, the team looked weaker. Their play became predictable, and Sousa clashed with the club's management over transfers. Frustrated by the lack of support, he left in 2017. After that, his career became unstable. He coached in China, then Bordeaux, and later Poland's national team, which he suddenly left before the World Cup playoffs to join Flamengo, causing a huge scandal. Sousa had moments of success, but never stayed long anywhere or reached the top level. Bernd Schuster was a big football personality. As a player, he starred for Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico, something very few have done. He started his coaching career in Germany, and his first foreign job was surprisingly with Shakhtar Donetsk. After that came Levante and Getafe. With Getafe, Schuster reached the Copa del Rey final, even knocking out Barcelona with a total score of 6-5. That success caught the attention of Real Madrid. At the time, Real were tired of Fabio Capello's defensive style. They had won trophies, but fans and the club wanted more exciting football. Schuster, who liked fast, attacking play, and had strong respect in the dressing room, seemed perfect. The old Galacticos era was ending, and President Ramon Calderón wanted something new. In his first season, Schuster won La Liga easily, finishing 8 points ahead of Villarreal and 18 ahead of Barcelona. Real also scored the most goals in the league. It looked like Madrid had found the coach to take them back to the top of Europe, but once again, they were knocked out of the Champions League in the round of 16, a familiar story. The next season went downhill. Results got worse, and Schuster made a big mistake. He told reporters that Real Madrid couldn't beat Barcelona in El Clásico. That statement cost him his job. The team lost form, tensions grew, and he was fired in December 2008. After Real, Schuster worked in Turkey and later in Malaga, but never achieved the same success. Over time, his name faded from the spotlight. His story at Real Madrid is a good example of a coach who arrived at the perfect moment, but when things got tough, he didn't have what it took to stay on top. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Check out my other videos, like 8 Forgotten Premier League Legends and Manchester United players who revived their careers after leaving, as shown on your screen. My name is Ole. Love this game. See you next time.